just a lot of people think they know what's going on, and it isn't. So anyway, I don't know where.
We will. Okay, Adam.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Give me a second here. I got some microphone. Is it better like this? Yes. So I have Adam. Are you calling? Are you in the office?
Yes,
Okay.
we're back in the office now a few days a week.
So Adam is graduated in 2012, and he's now at Cerberus. Adam, maybe if you could do two simple things to begin with, give the students. These are the current students. I mean, there's a few of them are missing because we're getting to the end of the class, and it's they're preparing for exams. But Rodrigo is new, Ramos, Chitali, Jersey, Kiyu, Wangxi. They're all first year students. I mean, Jack and Yeren are second year, and all the others have found jobs already. So, Jack is over at Millennium. Yeren is, having some interesting issues to deal with, but hopefully you get some good news. But maybe you could tell the other students, how did you go about after you graduated? What was your route? Because you are at Cerberus now, and I think you've been there all along, or?
I was at Morgan Stanley for a brief period of time, about a year, but ever since been at Cerberus, about 9 years now.
Okay, great. So how did you find the first job? What was your strategy? Was it luck? Was it? Tell us
Yeah,
the
sure.
secret. Tell us the secret.
I think there's always a bit of luck involved, but I applied to a bunch of jobs randomly, just direct applications via online job portals, as well as leverage the Lehigh network. But I actually got both my first job at Morgan Stanley and my current job at Cerberus through peers from the analytical finance program. So one of my classmates, his girlfriend at the time was working for Morgan Stanley and made the introduction to her manager there. Did the whole suite of interviews and ended up getting the job. And then another classmate, who's also a very good friend of mine now, he was at Cerberus, and they had a job opening on his team, so he recommended me over there. So it really is all about the network.
Is that friend at KKR now?
Yeah, Eddie.
Okay. I know. He's done very well, I have to say.
Oh yeah, he's got a pretty big job over there now.
Is he in London, or is he back in New York?
He's back in New York now.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we have to grab him too.
Yeah.
All right, so it's networking. So could you explain a little bit what is it that Cerberus does, and how you fit, and how what you learn helped you cope with whatever that you're coping with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, Cerberus is a big distressed investment, private equity and hedge fund shop. So we do a whole bunch of different types of distressed investing, both traditional private equity and a lot of stuff in credit markets. So we have a big mortgage business, mortgage-backed securities, both residential and commercial. We do a lot of investment in non-performing loan pools in Europe and Asia. We have a big real estate business, both domestically and internationally, and then some more bespoke stuff, some emerging markets investing, things like that. So a pretty wide range of investment strategies. We have a whole bunch of different types of funds, both traditional hedge funds, commitment style PE funds, hybrid style funds. So a lot of different options for our LPs to invest through. We offer a lot of different products, if you will. And so what I do here is I manage the investment operations team. So we oversee all the middle and back office functions for pretty much everything the firm does outside of our lending business. I didn't mention that we also have a big direct lending, middle market lending platform that has their own team. But we support everything else. So we support the entire life cycle of both the funds and the products that we deal with. I have a couple people that sit on the various trading desks throughout the firm to work really closely with them on new deals and day-to-day trading activity, that sort of thing. And then my, education and my degree from Lehigh. So it's not really, my job isn't highly technical. I'm not doing the financial modeling and stuff that you guys are all learning in the program, but I do think that it's helped me be able to communicate better with the various groups that do that sort of thing. So one of the things that I think is really important in my particular role is wearing a lot of hats, so to speak, being able to speak with, the tax lawyers and the accountants and the traders and the risk management people. Even if I don't specialize in any of those things, I got to kind of know what they all do and be able to speak with them intelligently. So the degree from Lehigh definitely gave me the understanding of, what's happening on the risk side of things, on the modeling side of things, which I think has been really beneficial.
And how have you, well, what you mentioned is interesting, because what we find is after, 2012, so it's about 10 years, I guess after a while, you evolve into what you were meant to be, I guess. I mean, you come out as a quant or whatever, but then, modeling, so highly technical, but then we've got people that ended up in manufacturing, in your case it's a little bit different, but right, you don't model all the time for the next 20 years. It's a base, right? So you need to be able to prepare yourself for change. I mean, if you have the ability to, it helps a lot.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. I think probably, and I'm not speaking from experience, but I would imagine even in the more technical fields, once you progress your career a little bit and move into management roles, you're doing less of that hardcore technical stuff day to day and more, general management, working with people, that sort of thing.
So for the people that are working with you, how important is coding? What do you see? Maybe not with you, but within the organization.
Yeah, so coding or more generally technology is immensely important now. I've actually kind of experienced the firm implementing more and better technology over my tenure here and seeing the drastic changes made in our ability to grow and scale while keeping a pretty lean team. So for my team specifically, I have a couple people that are decent coders, but not, full-blown software engineer levels. That's not really required for my team. But across the firm, we do have, an IT group that has built some pretty robust technology for us, automated a bunch of manual processes, things like that. So it's definitely a skill set that is in high demand right now. And I would recommend anyone if I was going back to school right now, I'd 100% study coding, software engineering, maybe that plus math and finance, but it's a highly valuable skill set to have right now.
Yeah, that's what we noticed. Any questions for our guest? Charles?
Yeah, I do. Hi, Adam.
Rodrigo.
I was wondering if you could speak a bit about how ESG has impacted your firm in particular, and how do you, I guess, add the ESG component to some of your investment ideas or investment criteria, and if that has changed how your perspective within investment. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I haven't seen a lot of that impacting our investment strategies here. A lot of what we do, we've, sort of been doing for a number of years, especially in the private equity space. So I think we know our market niche and what's worked for us in the past and sort of have some core competencies in those areas. So yeah, it's more been kind of what brought us success already that we've been sticking with.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Because Rodrigo is working on a factor modeling project, and one thing that we've been wrestling with is how to add ESG and climate risk.
I was thinking more in the sense for my project. I'm working on a fund creation project, which is an actual private equity in a sense, an LPGP fund, where we're looking at real estate in an ESG from an ESG point of view. So use ESG components towards the land and the buildings, as well as the tenant bases for the buildings themselves. So I've been looking around a lot of opinions on whether ESG changes an investor's perspective or towards less risk or towards more risk, but it varies. That's what I was wondering, if you had any pointers towards that.
And in your model, what are like the factors? How does that influence the investment process?
Well, from the real estate perspective, we're talking strictly greenfields, and then buildings as energy efficient as possible. So maybe talk about LEED components within the buildings, and then we're focusing more in the tenant basis, as in the tenants have to be, I don't know, they may need to have a diversified board, something like those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think that's probably something that's going to be more of a factor as time goes on here. Yeah, I can't say I've seen a ton of that impacting the investment analysis and risk analysis. I'm sure there's some of it, but not enough to maybe make its way towards me. But I do think it's an interesting thing to study.
One thing that's changed from the time you graduated is the size of the projects. And besides the curriculum, we have about 19 projects available, not running at the same time, but we've gone through 19, and Rodrigo is working on 2 of them, and which is interesting because they're dealing with aspects that have nothing to do with the curriculum.
Interesting.
Which is its own curriculum,
Yeah.
which makes it more interesting.
Yeah,
Anyone
like
else? Any questions for Adam? Charles, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you can go over your guys' CMO operations more. I'm really interested in that as I'm interning right now for a CMO valuation company.
Sorry, CMO meaning what exactly?
Your commercial mortgage-backed securities.
Oh, yeah. So what do you want to know?
Oh, I'd really like the operation. I want to know the operation and the development, because right now, since I'm on the sell side, mostly really on the information side, when we're building the models, I find it interesting. I find it interesting how we're building the models and how the actual operation works. I would like to know what your guys' operation looks like on the commercial side, because I'm mostly in real estate.
Got it. Yeah, so I'm not super close to the modeling portion of it, or the portfolio construction portion of it, but I can tell you that it's a relatively small part of the overall Cerberus business. I think they manage less than like $1 billion of AUM, whereas across the firm we have like 55 total, I think. It's a few people. They're mostly buying third-party bonds, buying them, levering them with repo, opportunistically selling, but generally holding them for price appreciation and levered carry. So it's fairly low touch from like a operations, at least my piece of the operations of that strategy.
Okay.
But yeah, I know they have a bunch of different types of commercial mortgages, some SASBs like single asset, single borrower, some hotel properties, some more diversified stuff. So I think within the portfolio, it's a fairly diverse set of holdings.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chaitali.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Chaitali. I'm a first-time MFE student here. So a very quick question about you mentioned you earlier worked with Morgan Stanley and now you're working with a private equity hedge fund. What if you could share with us your hiring process? I mean, did you go through technical rounds, or what was it like? Like, I'm sure there's networking that happens, but beyond that, how competitive was the hiring process? I mean, the questions, because I do know that hedge funds and private equity funds, it's really tough to get into them. There are, I'm sure, a lot of technical rounds because everybody already wants to get into them. So did you, and how intense were these, if there were?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I wasn't hired into like a formal like class of, say, investment banking analysts or whatever, where I think those interviews are probably a lot more structured. It was more, there's an opening on these teams, so they brought me in. And if I recall correctly, I went through something like 3 rounds of interviews for each job. And the people, I mean, they grill you pretty hard. I mean, when I hire people, I grill them pretty hard, especially coming from the analytical finance program. I had a bunch of, technical things on my resume and people would ask me about them. I believe one interview I had to write like a VBA script on a piece of paper. I was asked questions about option pricing models and interest rate factor models. Some of this, I don't remember all this very well at this point, but my advice would be that expect tough interviews, expect technical questions, especially from the kind of background that you guys have, and be ready to do that sort of work in a high pressure environment.
Okay, that was very informative. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
So you're a tough interviewer.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
So-
it's hard, right? So like I manage now. So when I'm hiring people, it's actually a really big decision. The startup cost, not even talking about money, but in terms of time spent training people, is enormous. So you want to make the right decision, and it's hard to figure out if someone's the right hire from a handful of 30-minute to a couple hour interviews. So
Exactly. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get close to companies so that it's not such a crapshoot, i.e., they already know either through projects or through network, right? So they, I mean, a lot of the students that you're seeing now, you got a job because they were interning somewhere. So then it was kind of a smooth. There's people doing internships, and maybe it ends up. I think one of them already ended up as a job. So that helps, and that's why I'm trying to get students into position, either internships or co-op program within the organization already. So it doesn't become this, how could you tell on a piece of paper if the person is going to be, maybe they're there, but then you have the mentality of the firm, how will they fit properly? That's always
culture fit. Yeah,
it's a culture fit is extremely important.
Yeah, agreed.
Any other questions for Adam? Going once, twice. Okay, Adam, thank you very much for your time. I know that you're working, so I don't want to take too much of valuable time. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.